Hello world, welcome back to another episode of Let Them See Your Mind. It's your girl LD Marie and we are back. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel and follow me on all of my adventures today. So today's video we are going to be talking to two lovely ladies who are sitting beside me right now. All of us have one thing in common. We are American expats and we're going to dive into some girl chat. So sit back, relax, let's go. So let me introduce you to some good friends of mine. Actually, I've been knowing somebody for a very, very long time. And I'm actually meeting someone very new. So this is Donna and this is Tasha. I've been knowing Tasha for, I would say, how long? Like maybe 2007, 2016, 2017. It was by fate. We were living in the same apartment. We were one of the neighbors that would just basically say, "Hey, how you doing?" Because she was the other black girl, I was a black girl, so so we would always say, "Hey." And then the one time that we actually did connect, it was when I needed to move out, and she graciously agreed to help me move. And so now I'm here with her in Abu Dhabi, and so she has graciously agreed to do this chat with us. And she introduced me to her friend, Donna. She is one of her friends here, and she has been abroad for, and I'm going to let her tell you how long that she's been abroad. But ultimately, this is just a discussion amongst us girls to kind of just start the conversation about Americans living abroad. So let's get started, ladies. Donna, can you just introduce yourself to the world?
Okay, so my name is Donna, and I am a native New Yorker. I'm actually from Brooklyn, New York. I moved abroad 2016, and I've been living in Abu Dhabi now as an expat for, this will be my 9th year.
Oh, wow.
I've actually been leaving for 9 years, but I've not been able to make it back to the Americas because, it's America.
Yeah, it is America.
And life is different when you live abroad. And I think the things that attracted me to here specifically was like the safety. And some people say it's kind of like living in a bubble, but I like that. I like the cleanliness of things. I like going to work and coming home and enjoying my afterlife. And so it's just a different level of living.
Yeah.
So people talk about a soft life. You can still work and have a soft life. I could not do that in New York.
Yeah.
I was just grinding.
Yeah.
Right. And any softness I had would be once I left the city.
I've been in Abu Dhabi for a few days now, and it just seems like everything is like slowed down. It's relaxed. It's not the hustle and bustle or anything like that. It's just very cool. And I've learned to appreciate it because it's really nice to kind of just wind down and relax because I live in London. And so there's always a hustle and bustle in London. But even on the outskirts, it's not really that slowed down type of vibe. It's still that hustle.
But you still, for here, I still feel like you still have the city. So it's not like if you was in the South, maybe per se, it's slower there. Or even here, if you go to Al Lane, then you would consider that the country. We're still in the city. So we still get the city vibes. You still have nightlife. You have a life, It's not as pretty as London and New York, per se. You might find some areas, like when you go into like a Hamdan Center or Hamid Street, you might find a little bit grittiness and more people. But outside of that, I feel like you still have a nice city vibe by living here, It's just cleaner.
So, as you guys know, I've been abroad for 3 years, and so we have the baby Expat over here. So, how long have you been abroad, this lady?
Crazy. Okay, so I'm Tasha. I've been living abroad for 10 months.
See, maybe y'all.
I don't feel like them. I can go home at any moment. If they wanted to let me go home now, I will go happily. I just
She just got here.
Right, that's the only reason. Like, she just got here.
I love living abroad, but I don't mind going home.
And I'm still in that between of like, I can't go home, but I like the life that I built here. I want to ask you, Donna, I know you said before that you've been trying to go back home for 9 years.
Yeah.
What has like kept you here?
Well, it really is my life outside of work.
Mm-hmm.
It really is. I've been at several different schools to several different places, and work is pretty much work everywhere. But my life outside of work is really good. I've made really good connections with people. I've built relationships, for me that can last a lifetime. And I think as an expat, people come and go so often. I've been lucky enough that every time someone goes, I always make a new friend.
Yeah.
And then I have friend groups.
Right.
And so, like, I have church friends that I go with, and then I have colleagues from work, because wouldn't necessarily call them friends, but colleagues from work that I hang out with. And then I have my walking group. And then I have like a wellness group that I host. And so I created a life for myself that's very similar to what I had at home.
Yeah.
And that was very important for me. I knew that if I was able, or if I was going to be able to stay here for an extended period of time, my life had to resemble what it was in New York.
Yeah. I really do feel that, because I feel like that's what I'm doing currently in London, is that I'm mirroring the life I had in Texas, where I have like my certain groups. Now, for me as a part of a sorority, Alpha Kappa Alpha, I'm mirroring a lot of the things that I would do back in Dallas compared to what I'm doing now. And I think that's why Tasha has always told me, I'm not going back. Okay, and we've had this debate before, and I'm like, why do you keep saying that I'm never gonna go back? And I want you to tell the audience, why do you think that I will never go back? Or why would you go back?
Right. I'll answer both. I will go back because I think at this point in my life, I want more stability. I feel like at this place, the rug can be pulled from under you like so fast, and you have to like scramble and find a job. I feel like in that sense, it's not stable. And I think I've had such a unstable childhood, and now in my 30s, I'm like, I want something more stable. I want to go to church. I want to build a community at church. I know there's a church here, but it's not like a American church.
Right.
It's just a filler for now. But I think I'm kind of longing for some type of community and stuff like that. Like you say, you created those relationships here, but I want them at home because I know I have a friend, Linda. She's gonna be in South Africa when I go home. You know what I mean? I want some more friends in Texas. I want to start building my life at home because I want that stability now.
Yeah, that's fair. That's very fair.
And I feel like I've saved up a good amount of money now.
True.
So I think that might be what it is. I would say what I'm learning right now is to be more present and appreciative of what I have right now in front of me, as opposed to planning to go home and looking forward to going home. I need to really appreciate now because when I go home, this is just going to be a moment, and a lot of people don't get this.
No.
I'm the first one in my family to ever do anything like this. So I'm trying to make sure I slow down and really get up with appreciation, like really having gratitude with everything I do because you can't take it for granted. So I think that's where I'm at.
I can appreciate what you said about having stability. I do think that there is a sense of not being stable depending on what job or what visa that you do have when it comes to living abroad. For me personally, I have a 3-year visa, but it's connected to my job. And so if I ever, for whatever reason, lose that job, I have 2 months to scramble to get back to the States. Compared to anybody else that has, and I'm going to use terms for the UK, that has a right to remain for a visa, they can stay as long as they're staying majority of the year. Like they can stay, they don't have to have a job to tear them or whatever case may be. But that's like a 5-year thing. And so I've been here for 3 years. 2 more years, I can get a right to remain and still be in the United Kingdom. But I still have to be tied to a job in that sense. One of your recent videos that I watched was about starting over, and Gabrielle Union did a message for the girls in the 30s about it's okay to start over. That was really resonant to me, to where I'm a girl in my 30s, starting over, moving to a new country when I was 28 years old, and then just starting anew and starting a life. And now I'm 31. I'm like, I like my life. I literally like my life outside of work. And I think I can mirror it in both ways, whether it be the United Kingdom or Texas. So for me, it doesn't necessarily really matter if I'm in the UK or if I'm outside of Abu Dhabi or wherever. I think I can mirror those things. Go ahead.
For me, I would say it's a little different. So I didn't leave until I was my late 30s. So I didn't leave the States. Unlike Tasha, I've been married. I was married 20 years. I already have an adult child. I'm a grandma now. Live.
Grandma, where?
And you have a home.
Yeah. I'm a grandma now. I have a home in New York, so I've lived, in a sense. I was fully vested when I left my job at home. For me, I was in a very different place. I had already been settled and made foundational friendships and things that you need to do. So once I left, for me, it was just like it was a starting over, a starting afresh in my late 30s. And so I wanted a different lifestyle. I wanted something, not that it was unstable, because I do care about stability. I care about my pension, and all those things are very important. And that is really one thing that drives me to want to go back home, to finish my pension. Really, that's the only real reason for me to go back home. But outside of that, I enjoy my life outside of work, like you said. Enjoy the relationships that I built. And I just feel like nothing's really stable if you really think about it. Even if you go home, anything can be pulled under the rug from you at any time. I tell people, like you said, you got to be grateful, because we really, if you're in the working middle class, you really got one foot in your house and one foot out the door. You just don't realize it. It's really best to just live not only for today, but to be present, but to not look so far ahead. Right. Within maybe a year, okay. But when somebody actually said, do you have a 5-year plan? 5 years. I don't know what I'm doing in 5 months. 5 years. What are you talking about?
I don't remember what I had for lunch yesterday.
Yeah,
Like,
I heard this quote that said that you're anxious because you're looking too far in your future, and you're depressed because you're looking too far back.
And you won't let go of what has already passed, because they can't get that back. It's done already. Yeah. So really, it's so important to just be present. Yeah. Yeah. So
I think that's what gives you peace.
Gives you peace. So when people say, when are you coming home? Stop asking. I don't know. When I know, you'll know.
Yeah, because I think we all have gotten that question.
Yeah, stop
like
asking.
literally, like, when are you coming home? Are you staying there for the rest of your life? Like, that is a question that is always pertinent. I want to move the conversation just a little bit, talking about like the humble beginnings of how you became an American expat, of the process for you guys in moving over here. How did you start out?
For me, it was not very difficult. It actually started out as just a joke, almost. Like a friend of mine, and not necessarily a joke. It's something that I wanted to do when I was young, in my 20s. But at the time I was married, I had a child. That wasn't really a possibility for me, right? And then it kind of came up later on in conversation with a friend about moving abroad. And I was like, yeah, I would love to do that, but I'm not leaving my good pension. It was like a joke. I'm not leaving my job at the pension. And then another friend kind of brought it up that her friend had left New York and moved to Abu Dhabi. And I had wrote a children's book at the time. And then someone on Facebook had reached out to me saying that they was interested in how I wrote the book and blah, blah, blah. And the guy said, oh, yeah, and by the way, I'm moving abroad. And I was like, yeah, by the way, where are you moving? And he was like, Abu Dhabi. So I took that as a sign. This is the third witness to me.
For sure.
Right? And so I said, well, let me just look it up. So I asked, how would you go about doing that? And I called that particular friend. He told me the agency that she went through, which is, I think it was Teachaway at the time. And so I just looked it up. I filled out the application online. And I was actually quite shocked that they called me back within a week.
Oh, wow.
It happened so fast. So I kind of felt like it was the move of God, because no doors were being closed. And I kind of prayed about it. Well, if this is my time, then let the doors open and stay open. Right. And if it's supposed to close them. Don't even let me get through it. And every door kept opening. And it was just easy. And it just kind of, I didn't really know what to expect. So I didn't know where I was going to live. That's something I would not advise. I would say, if you're going to move, or in my future, if I moved anywhere else, I want to know where I'm going to live. At the time, I just was going with the flow. I just want to have a change in my life. I needed some change. I was going through divorce. I just needed change, And I just went with it. And it worked. It just literally worked. And I was not afraid. I think that was another indicator for me that I wasn't afraid. When people say, well, where are you going to live? I don't know. What you going to teach? I don't know. When are you leaving? Because at that time I was working with a government school. We didn't even know what date. It was me waiting for a plane ticket.
Oh, wow.
It was that and I was like, yeah, I don't know. And they're like, yo, what do you mean you don't know? Yeah, I don't know. I'm just going to try and see what, see, it is what it is. But, I did have my house. I knew that I could go back to my job. That if all failed, right, I was taking a leave of absence at that point. So if all else failed, I could just go back home. I had home to fall back on. I felt confident enough that if this was something God wanted me to do, or if he was allowing this to happen, all I had to do was trust him. All I had to do was trust. And he would open up the door. And that's exactly what happened. So I knew it was time for me to go. And I was so happy that I made that move.
I think I was just looking for something different. I have been teaching 10 years already. Same grade. I had my nice little savings. I liked my card. Everything was nice, right? But I just kind of wanted to shake it up a bit. Like, let me see who I am outside of comfort.
Mm.
Yeah,
I
because
like that.
in that sense, I was already kind of on my way to where I wanted to go, to buy a house and all of that. But I see how I am outside of this. I think this was more personal for me.
Yeah.
It wasn't really about the job or about where I'm going to live. It was more so about like me, like my personal development.
Mm.
Yeah, because I just felt myself being too stagnant and comfortable. Because for a long time, I really wanted to move out of state. I wanted to move to DC for a long time. And I was just so afraid to do it because I was raised in fear. Like everything, don't do that because of this. Or if you do that, that's gonna happen. And that's just kind of been my mindset most of my life. And I said, I'm tired of that. So let me try something that will really shake me up. So I moved here. It didn't really shake me up. It wasn't as bad as I thought. I was just kind of like, okay, yeah, I can do this, And then some things happened at the very beginning. And I don't know, it just showed me who I was for real. I'm very resilient. I just learned a lot about myself. So I've been really enjoying this journey.
Yeah. I relate to both of you in a sense because when I did my journey of moving over here, it was literally because I wanted to change. I was being laid off from work. I did say for a long time, I was like, I want to be an international social worker. I want to do this. I want to do that. And so when the opportunity came where like literally I'm about to be laid off, I'm about to get paid to not work for a while. Let's see if I can do this. And so did my research, everything else. And I got laid off in September. I did like a tester in December to go to London on my own during Christmas, and this was during COVID. So yeah, I did a tester for 3 weeks. I was like, okay, I can do this. I can do this. And then I was looking for jobs, and I got my job in June, and I moved in October. Wow. And so literally, it was just very much like, okay, well, I got my mindset. I want to change, and I just did it. Fear point of it, it didn't really get real for me until I got on the plane. One time I was doing the tester because the tester was like, I'm literally about to leave and I'm about to freak out. I'm freaking out. Like I'm literally leaving. But I had my moment. I hyperventilated on the plane, crying silently. And luckily I had enough Wi-Fi to listen to Kurt Franklin. And I did a breathing exercise, listened to gospel music, and I calmed myself down. And I was like, you can do this. This is you. You're called to do this. You said it was something on your mind, and you did it. And 3 years later, I'm still here.
I mean, once I got here, though, I was a little nervous because, again, you don't expect the loneliness. Right. I think that we don't account for.
Yeah.
Because you're literally separated from everybody you know. Even if you have friends sprinkled here and there is a serious level of loneliness that comes along with being an expat and being physically alone. And like I would go to work and I would be talking to people, and work was over at 1:00, and then from 2 until whenever I was in silence.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so now that deafening silence was a real trauma for me. And so I had to pray hard. I was like, okay, God, you have to send me a friend. Because if not, I'm going home. It's not going to work out. And there was some things that I knew I needed. I needed to, like I said, build my life here. I needed a church. I needed a community. I needed friends. If I did not have a community, it was not going to work. I was going to have to go back home.
Yeah.
And shortly after I prayed that prayer, I got a message from the church that sent me a WhatsApp action message saying, we have a life group, kind of like a Bible study group, but what they meet every week. Would you like to join? I was like, absolutely. And then I met Amina. She was like, do you want to be my friend? I was like, sure I do. Right? And as an adult, we don't realize how hard it is to make friends if you're not open. And for me, I'm a very friendly person, but there is a level of, uncertainty when it comes to making new friends as an adult, and going into your 40s. And I'm way past that now.
I do feel like it's a bit more easier as an expat to make friends.
Oh, yeah, because we all have the same similar story. Yeah. And we're all lonely.
Yeah, we all know. Feel you on that because when I first started my podcast, there was one episode that I did. It was the second episode, and you could hear me crying because it was my first holiday without family. And normally with that first holiday without family, it's very difficult because I can look back. Normally I'm back at home and of course it's normal. You go to family house, whatever, and you're like, it's okay. But be 4,000 miles away from your family.
That's rough.
It was the first Thanksgiving, first Christmas by yourself. And it's just like that loneliness, that isolation. And when I say that you're right about building your network and building your family,
That's exactly what you're doing.
You're building
yeah.
your own family.
Yeah, you are.
You are legitimately building up your whole family. So like when you do have those times to be like, so Donna, I feel like I need to go.
Girl, you got to come on.
Right. That's very important. And we talked about this. It's very important to have your own support system when you're doing this, when you're coming out and you're moving abroad. Even if you're by yourself or with your partner or with your family or whatever, it's very important to build your family.
Yeah.
In moving there and to prevent that loneliness. We talked a little bit about how you got out of that period of loneliness. What was some of the steps that you did outside of just kind of gravitating to the life group and meeting your new friends?
Well, I paint a lot. So painting is normally always my go-to. And I'm a puzzler. I don't know if you can see it. Tons of puzzles. So I'm a puzzler. I was doing that. I was walking quite a bit. And then the friends that I did have, I would just connect with them like, oh, you guys want to go to the mall? I remember my friend Ashley, every day we would go downstairs to the pool. We have a beautiful pool here. It's 3 pools, actually gorgeous. And there's a lot of greenery and most buildings on Ream don't have this. And so where we live is very special. And so every day we would go down, we would have a little Karak tea or a glass of wine, and we would go and we would sit, talk about the day, decompress, and get in a pool and just walk. And so this is the thing that I would do every day. Or I would go to the mall, but then that can get a little pricey. You spend money in the mall, So I don't want to be doing too much of that. But that's kind of how I started. And then I just realized that if I wanted to create this life of mine, I had to be the one to do it. Right? So I decided, okay, I like to walk. So I'm going to see if there's some other folks that like to walk. And so I created a group on Meetup just to see, it was called my Reimagine Wellness group. And I just wanted to see if other people like to walk. And I put it out there. And literally, let's say I did it on Friday, Saturday morning, I said, we're walking. And like 10 people showed up.
Oh, wow.
People I don't even know just showed up. A meetup spot down by Ream, and we just started walking. And every week we would get together and we would walk, and that's how it started. Okay, but you have to start it. Right. You have to create the life that you want for yourself. Yeah. That if you have enough guts to come and live abroad, you have it within you to make friends and to get out there. It's not a good thing to isolate yourself. We've seen that with even another friend of Tasha's that she came, and I said, Dag, I wish I would have known her when she came, because she felt alone. And so she ended up not really staying very long because she was alone. Had she had friends, and she said it, had I just known you, I would have been all right. And then sometimes you just need that one. You just need that one. It don't need to be a whole lot, but you just need that one. Yeah. But for me, it's good to have multiple because we don't want to put all the burden on one person either. Right? So, it's good to have multiple friends, but at least if you have that one,
I think a lot of people say that. A lot of people say if you were that one, and I know I call her my little sister. She told me that, and we've both been that, where you were the one that helped me stay. We started out living separately, then we moved in together because the area that we was in was crazy, and we started living together, and it was both of us that like helped us through those first 2 years, because a lot of the times you don't necessarily get settled within a new country until like 3 years in. That first year, the first 2 years, it's hard. It's difficult. I'd say for me, when I started working and started adding the stressors of my job on top of being alone, I was drinking every single night. I ain't gonna lie. I was drinking every single night. I was pouring it up.
What was your drink of choice?
It was wine.
Okay.
It was wine. Yeah, it was wine. And
it's easy to take you down.
Yeah, it would take me down. And then one day I was like, I can't do this. I need to get out of here. So I started doing dance classes. I joined a social group. Getting out of my comfort zone, or getting out of the 4 walls that I call my apartment, and opening up and building what we said earlier, building my family.
And it's important. And people say that to me all the time. You're always in the streets, and I'm like, you're right.
Yep.
You're right. Because I am the one. I am the person for many people. And I've been the one. And I know that. And I'm okay with that. I like being the one to kind of like support people. I like to be the one to bridge the gap and to build communities.
It's almost like empowering.
Yeah. So I'm okay with that, right? Because that is a part of, I feel like, my own personal calling, a mission, commissioned by God to bring people together. But you have to be willing to get out. Yeah, most people are not even willing to go outside. Yeah, they just get stuck in the apartment. I'm like, how can you come inside your apartment And white walls. I mean, even just the white walls. I could not deal with the white walls.
I love the pink wall.
Yeah, I couldn't deal with the white walls. Yeah, I couldn't deal with it because this is not a prison. I needed some color. I needed something. Again, it had to feel like me. I remember listening to Bell Hooks, and she was talking about, she has this great book about love, and she was talking about how she creates loving spaces wherever she lives. So all of the homes she's ever had, she made them her loving space for her, right? And so one house might be her country home, or in New York, she had, it was very more trendy. She had the type of art that she likes. So you see, I love art. And I would put the things that would make it my loving space. So it was comfortable for me. But even within that, I still wanted to bring people into my loving space. I wanted people to come in and enjoy. And so we have game nights and doing different things, you know, but being not afraid to go out or to bring people in is a very important thing when you want to become an expat or if you plan on surviving.
Yeah. I want to get you in on this. So, I mean, as far as just in general, what would you say that, did you have a lonely period? Would you say that it was difficult for you at first when you first came as far as an expat? I mean, I know you're 10 months in, so.
You know, it's so weird. I really haven't felt lonely yet.
Okay.
I think it's because part of my life I was the only child. So I'm used to kind of being in my own space. You know what I mean? So, you know, I did at one point, but then I just snapped out really quick because I'm used to being by myself. And I'm the middle child at that. So, I think those things help me tremendously. I just hate fun by myself. And you know, when I did feel myself like, oh, I really want to go home, and then that's just on my mind every morning, I just started creating routines, doing crossword puzzles, or getting into my content more and expressing on there. And I think those things, those type of outlets really help me. I think you do have to have some type of outlet.
Yeah, you do.
And extroverts, so being around people, Donna's group was really helpful. I think Donna was one of the first people I met. Donna is one of the first. Okay. And Donna is like a tree with lots of branches. And she's going to connect you to different branches.
Yeah, people.
So that's very nice. So yeah, that's what I would say.
Our walking group really is therapeutic. I mean, we literally
in art therapy,
and it's art. So we do art therapy. So once a month we meet together. And we do painting, pottery. We do journaling. So we do different types of things, right?
We do cycling.
Yeah, we do cycling every Wednesday at Yas Marina. So we go hiking. So we have a camping event coming up. So we do different things.
Y'all active. Y'all outside.
Yeah, we literally be outside. Like we go to Dubai to go walking and go hiking. We literally try to be as active as possible. And it's good for our physical health. Because like for me, I hate the gym. What I do love is spin class. I love hiking. I love walking and talking with my friends. I love hiking. So the things I love is what I use to help build my movement and be a part of my physical activity.
I think that's important.
You know?
Doing stuff you love.
Yeah, doing stuff that you love. Like that's basically
like the dance.
Yes. So let's turn the tide a little bit. So now we've all lived here. What would you say are some of the differences of living in your country than living back in the States?
Well, I would say one is the community.
Okay.
Yeah, you're gonna see more people in the States that look like you.
Yep.
And I would say here you're gonna meet people from all around the world,
which is so
But
nice.
what I am learning about that is that's not necessarily a bad thing, because honestly, people are people.
Yeah.
The only thing that's probably different about us is our culture, but personality is there.
Yep.
It doesn't matter if they're wearing a Shayla.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter what they're wearing. They are still people. Hilarious people, you know, people. Yeah. You have your rude people. Yep. People are people. You know, so I would say that's number one.
What else would you say?
I would say the differences are, I agree that people are people. I do feel like there's a level of safety that I always hone in on, because I don't feel that when I'm in America.
No.
Anywhere.
That's very true.
As soon as I touch down in New York, I feel I'm on guard. I have to be on guard.
I feel anxiety on that.
Yeah, I feel almost a bit of anxiety. You know, as soon as I get in my car, I feel worried. Yeah. You know, am I going to be pulled over, or what's going to happen? Or, you know, when you go in Walmart, is somebody going to come and try to shoot the Walmart? I mean, these crazy thoughts come in my mind. But it's not because I'm making them up. It's because this happens every day. Yeah, absolutely. You know, versus now in my mind, I can't go for a walk just because. I mean, I can go for a walk any time of day or night. Nothing is going to happen to me. I'm not going to get a paper cut You hear what I'm saying?
No, this is
Nothing.
facts.
And this is facts. This is not just because I'm saying it. This is true. I can leave my wallet downstairs on the chair in the lobby
It's
and come
facts.
back. When I come back, it's going to be right there. Nobody's going to touch it.
All the money in there.
Yo,
This is
why not?
facts.
Nobody will touch it.
No,
So
true.
the level of safety here is so different that when you go back, it's like hard to
Digest.
It's hard to digest, you know. I mean, it's some differences. So I do love the vibe that as soon as I come back to New York or Brooklyn, especially, you know, I get to see a lot of the brothers because the love is real. So as soon as I come off the street, hello Empress, you know,
Hello, my queen.
hello my queen, you know, what up, Ma? You know, what up, Ma? So you get different things, you know. The love is there. You feel the love here. You know, it's kind of far and in between because we don't have as many Americans or even just Black Americans, you know. It's different. Dating is different. Everything is different, you know, when you're living abroad. But you have to be more open.
Yeah.
You know, you have to be more open. So I don't expect it to be exactly the same as home. I like where I am. I like the life that I live. I enjoy even the freedoms that I have here. Like, I don't feel like my freedom has been taken away, even living in a Muslim country.
Oh, wow.
I agree to that.
Yeah, I feel like
It's not
everything
as
that I
strict
want to
as
do
people
at home is not as strict as people make it seem.
Yeah, it's
I
not
literally
strict.
go to church. I have life groups here. What can't we do?
Yeah,
You know,
true.
they're so welcoming. They not only take care of their own people, which is very admirable. So it's like you watch how they take care of their own people, and it's just like,
No, that is.
why can't we do the same thing in
And then
America?
how disciplined they are with their religion.
Yes.
It make you want to do better.
Yeah. And even if and everybody loosey goosey, right? And nobody's perfect. Nobody. No religion is perfect, right? Everybody loosey goosey. However, there is a level of respect
It is.
that comes with it. I mean, I love going past the mosque on Friday and seeing all the men bow down. I think it's beautiful with their sons by their sides. I think it's beautiful. You know? So it's just different. Those are the things we don't necessarily see in America.
No.
I like how they value convenience. We can get anything done at our homes. I like that.
Yeah.
I feel like in America they'll charge us everything we have.
Arm and a
leg,
leg.
foot, and kidney.
And your firstborn.
Like we have cleaners.
I love my cleaner.
You see what I mean? We can call somebody to wash our car in our apartments.
Yeah. Wash my clothes.
It's always going to be.
I have a guy coming tomorrow to take care of my plants.
See what I'm saying? And it's going to
take care of your plants?
Yeah, he's going to repot it. He's going to fix it because it's, you know, it's dying, unfortunately. And I've had it a very long time.
It's inexpensive.
And it's very inexpensive. So he's going to come. We went to him today to just tell him. He said, don't worry, Madame will be there tomorrow. I said, thank you.
They really value that.
I mean, y'all make me want to go to Abu Dhabi. Okay.
When they talk about a soft life, you have it
for my entire apartment to be clean. Before you came, I got my apartment clean.
Yeah. That's something like, I mean,
this would be $150 US. And you talking about for maybe 2 hours.
Even
and she's only doing the first floor. So if I had to do my house, she would not do the whole house and charge me $100.
Yeah,
it would
be paying
$300 at least.
I need to find a job to come over to Abu Dhabi. So if there's anybody that's out there that needs a social worker, or I can just when I go content creating full time, I can actually stay here.
Exactly.
So, yeah, you could do it and get you a golden visa.
Yes.
Get a golden visa.
Yeah. I mean, I took a picture today at the Emirates Palace under the sign. I'm gonna put it on my Instagram. Basically say one day I'm gonna stay here.
I say manifest it. Bring it on there.
One day I'm gonna stay here.
It's a very nice place to live.
Mm-hmm. It really is.
Say that. Yeah. I don't want to go home because the country is awful.
No, the country is
it's
great.
Just my personal, you know.
Yeah, everybody has their personal.
Amazing. Yeah, everybody has their reasons.
I'm glad this is my first place I ever lived.
Me too. My first experience living abroad has been here, and it's been really amazing. And I'm grateful. And I feel like when it's time for me to go home, you know, if it's next year, then whenever it is, I'm gonna be so excited that I had this experience. That this is part of my life story now. You know, and I think that's the beautiful thing, that this was a part of my life story.
And nobody can take it away.
And nobody can take it away.
Nobody at all. And I think we can all sit in agreement that we don't regret our decision.
No, I don't regret it.
Yeah, we don't regret it whatsoever. I think there's been some ups, there's been some downs, but ultimately doing what you want to do and making that step, making that leap of faith to go abroad to a new country that you don't really know too much about unless you actually live here, because there's a lot of pre notions in regards to the countries that we chose to live in, whether it be myself in the United Kingdom, for you guys for the UAE. There's a lot of different things that come about, and you just don't know, and until you actually live the life, you won't know. And there's a lot of perceived notions about Americans, and I want to talk a little briefly about that. About like, what are some of the stereotypes that you have faced while living abroad?
I've not faced very many. I think for the most part, people love Americans. Strangely enough, they really do.
They love us.
I've actually gotten treated very kindly and very well.
I would say that.
Because I'm an American. Even better because my family background, my family's from Jamaica.
Oh, wow.
For the most part, people love Caribbean people everywhere I've gone. And so, like, I have some friends from Jordan. They're like, "Oh, this is my Jamaican friend." They won't even say this is my American friend.
No, this is my Jamaican friend.
Yeah, they won't even say this is my American friend.
That's so cute.
Which I think is super cute. But I've been treated very kindly.
Briefly about that. About like, what are some of the stereotypes that you have faced while living abroad?
I've not faced very many. I think for the most part, people love Americans. Strangely enough, they really do.
They love us.
I've actually gotten treated very kindly and very well.
I would say that.
Because I'm an American. Even better because my family background, my family's from Jamaica.
Oh, wow.
For the most part, people love Caribbean people everywhere I've gone. And so, like, I have some friends from Jordan. They're like, "Oh, this is my Jamaican friend." They won't even say this is my American friend.
No, this is my Jamaican
friend. Yeah, they won't even say this is my
That's
American
so cute.
Which I think is super cute. But I've been treated very kindly by many people. And I would say, like, all of the relationships that I have with Muslim people or just the locals, Emiratis, have been amazing. Like, they're such kind, warm, very generous, very giving
Oh,
people.
Yes, very giving.
Oh my God, if you go to their house and eat, they got like a spread I've never seen before. And I'm like, how am I going to eat all of this food? And they're just so giving. They just want to constantly give and give. I mean, and they don't care that I'm American. They don't care that I'm Christian. They don't care. They're just about love.
Yeah.
You know, it's all about love. And you can feel it.
Even the kids are like this.
And even the children, you know, they have like, I remember one of the mothers said, "You have a white heart." They really believe in having a white heart and doing the right thing. And me, that's been my true experience. I've had a few run-ins with, like, when I went to the mall, maybe not knowing that I'm American, I talk with my voice, you know, I start talking, you know, because they might think that I'm African. You know, and sometimes their preconceived notions of Africans might be different.
Yes, that's true.
Right? And so then once they realize I'm an American woman, they'll just say, "Oh, America, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry."
Exactly, that's true.
You know, so then they kind of like back off. But outside of that, I've had a great experience being American.
I would say that my experience is just like preconceived notions of just the normal, loud, out there, you're outgoing. I wouldn't say, because I'm in the United Kingdom, so it's different because, of course, like the United Kingdom and America, they're like, I would say first cousins or big brother, little sister type of vibe. So like they would always say, "Well, oh, we're better because of this and this," and like, you know, like that piss and match kind of sort of.
Yeah, that's here.
Yeah.
As well.
What would you say about racism? Would you say that you experience racism over here?
I can't say that.
I've not.
At all.
No,
I think they care more about passports here.
Yeah.
Like, depending on where you're from, that's what matters.
Yeah.
Like, we're Americans, so we're okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've not really experienced racism, but racism exists everywhere.
Of course.
Right? And unfortunately, more likely than not, Black people are at the receiving hand of racism, or even if it's indirect. By most cultures, and it's not even just Caucasian cultures. It could even be Filipinos. You can kind of treat people a little differently based on what they perceive, you know? But again, when they know you have an American passport, they might treat you a little different versus if you had a Nigerian passport.
Absolutely.
Or a Cameroonian passport or Uganda passport. Or, you know, they would treat you a little different.
Filipino.
You know, they might treat you a little different. So at first sight, they just might see you as a Black person. They don't know what kind of Black person you are.
Exactly.
So then they might, until you speak, right? So then they might be racist towards you.
Yeah.
Then once they realize, then they change their tune a bit to back up, you know? So I've seen that happen. So I know that does exist.
It does.
So it just depends. It's not on average, like a thing that happens all the time. But, everybody has prejudices, and they have these things that they see on TV or, the world's living in the social media age. They believe everything they see on TV.
Gotcha.
And nothing of what really matters is connection and relationships. So once you have the connection, once you have the relationship, then you see that we are really the same and you don't have to watch and from TV and just make an assumption about folks. How everybody's experience is different. Because like, look how my friend Jasmine, she desperately was like wanting to go home.
Why she wanted to go home?
Well, she had a man and she was engaged, but I think she had just got fed up with her career path, not being promoted, staying at one salary for the last 8 years. Like, don't move you up salary wise. So in New York, especially, we make a lot of money as teachers.
I've heard this.
We make very good money. And then we get promotions and we get, salary raises. And that does not happen here. So whatever salary you come at is what you stay at. That's a problem.
Oh, wow.
And most schools.
That is.
So it depends on what school you're at. Some private schools, they might give you a small percentage, but for the most part, whatever you come in is what you stay at. It's not that people don't like their schools. They just don't like the fact that they're not getting a raise. And I agree. After so many years, it's time to bounce.
Yeah, that's fair.
You can't stay in one place and make the same amount of money, but doing more than what you came in doing. That's unacceptable. That's one reason why I notice a lot of people do leave, because pay doesn't go up, but everything else is going up, especially after COVID. Literally everything is going back up. Food is going up. Oil, even though we say it's not a lot, gas not a lot, but it's still more than it was pre-COVID,
Right.
And so now, but your salary is not going up. And this is for everybody. After a while, people get fed up. So even though the lifestyle is glam and glitz, you just like, well, I need more professionally. I need to make more money. I need to see change. And then it's just like, well, what is the benefit? It don't weigh the cost of me being away from my family. I might as well just be home.
Okay.
So everybody has a different, depends on what your situation is. So for me, I already have a house. If you're the type of person like I want to build my wealth so then I can buy one. And once you get that to that certain stage, and you're like, okay, it's time to go home.
Right.
I've already done it, so I don't need to stay any longer and be away from my family, So it just depends, and then again, you do build family here. Sometimes it's hard to leave your family here.
Yeah.
Because now you're like, oh, I don't want to leave my friends. I want to see them. I miss them. I want to build my wealth so then I can buy one. And once you get that to that certain stage, and you're like, okay, it's time to go home.
Right.
I've already done it. So I don't need to stay any longer and be away from my family. So it just depends, and then again, you do build family here. Sometimes it's hard to leave your family here.
Yeah.
Because now you're like, oh, I don't want to leave my friends. I want to see them. I miss them. It is in transient. So we do have to go through that stage of missing people because they do leave eventually,
Yeah, I feel you on that. I think that's why I'm still stuck in the middle of like, do I want to stay or do I want to go? At this point, if I get to a point where, because I'm still paying bills in the States, because I racked up debt,
Yeah.
20s, we did it. I'm not paying on my student loans, but if I do go back, then I have to start paying on them. So right now for me, I can travel right now and I can just experience new places and new things. And I guess I want to get that out my system before I even consider going back.
Yeah.
And that's where it's just like, because once I go back, it gets a little bit more harder to come back on the other side.
Yes and no.
But
because I've known people that left and came back.
Yeah.
I also have another question. All right. Do you think that when you think about it like that, is that having a scarcity mindset? Because you can go back and make triple of what you're making now and live a really good life, and money is not the issue. Then it comes to time.
Yeah, because what are you giving up
if you care about your time, money wise, who's to say you wouldn't have it?
Yeah, that is a scarcity mindset. I do appreciate you for that. I am enjoying my present, and I'm okay with what my present is right now. And eventually, God will lead me to my next direction on wherever I go, whether it be just staying in London, moving to Abu Dhabi, moving back home to Texas, going to another state. Because I think all of our family members had said at one point, moving abroad, why you can't just move to a different state?
When you said that you were worried about moving to DC, but you moved abroad, I had that same fear.
That's crazy.
That at the time I was dating this gentleman, maybe a year prior to me leaving.
This young man.
Yeah, young whippersnapper. And he moved to Texas, San Antonio, as a matter of fact. I would not move to San Antonio. But then 2 years later, I moved to Abu Dhabi. He was like, that's interesting. You wouldn't move here to another state, but you left the country. And I was like, you're right, because I did it for me.
Yeah, I think
It
that's
wasn't
what
for
came
you, it
down
was for me. Because I did it for me. So yeah, I was willing to do it. But then because I was willing to do that and do this, I knew I could do anything.
Anything.
Right.
Now
I
I
could,
really feel
but when I
like
say I could live on the moon and be happy, I
Yeah.
could live anywhere. My dream is to really live in Bali for a little while, at least a year.
Yeah.
And I
that'd be
believe
nice.
I believe it's gonna happen. So I feel for me, I could live anywhere. If I could do this, I'm a superhero. I could do anything.
Living abroad gives you that peace about
It
yourself. You have a
does.
Yeah.
peace about yourself.
Yeah, I could do
You're
anything.
not
Yeah.
concerned about like the way you just walked around Abu Dhabi today and went to those places by yourself. It's because you already live abroad.
Mhm.
Who's scared to do that? We're already here.
Nobody would do that.
We moved here by ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't move with anybody else, so
Mhm.
that's not a problem.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
not. Give me Google Maps and an international data plan and let me go.
Let me go. Yeah,
Because you
absolutely.
don't wait on anybody anymore.
No.
Because you know you can do it by yourself.
And I've traveled to so many countries alone. Like I do a lot of solo travel. I've done some with friends, but not as much. Majority of my travel has been solo, alone.
That's
Going to India, certain places in Africa, I've literally done it alone. Going to Bali, I've been alone. So for me, it's been nice. Like you said, you get to really know who you are. I enjoy having a friend to talk to, but I like hanging out with myself.
yourself.
I'm a
Yeah,
cool
I'm all right
person.
with that.
Yeah, and I'm fun. You know, like I meet people along the way and I love talking to strangers and people seem to gravitate towards
This one.
me.
Where are you from?
Yeah. And so people like to talk and I want to hear whatever your story is, I want to hear all about it. To me, as long as you have an openness and a willingness to want to learn, want to engage in life, then this is a lifestyle for you. I say give it a shot. Because what's the worst that can happen? Go back home.
Or what's the best that can happen?
Or what's the best that can happen?
Yeah.
You enjoy yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, we all love our lives abroad. But
Yeah.
what would you say there are certain things that you miss about being in America that you can't get here?
I would say food.
That's my answer too.
You know,
The food.
soul
Yeah.
food would be the only thing.
I would
Soul
say my
food.
family.
Yeah.
Mexican food.
I have a niece.
And see, I'm not for Mexican
I
food
love-
because
well,
I'm
it's
not from
because I'm from
Texas. But
Texas.
yeah, so for me,
it's a Texas thing.
I want Caribbean food and I want
Italian.
soul food.
Also,
Not even Italian. You know, I love pizza's my jam. Nobody makes pizza like New York. I don't care what anybody. I've been to Italy. I've been to Sicily. Nobody make pizza like New York. I don't care what anybody says. So
our pizza is good in Chicago.
Chicago-
But different. They're very
different. It's not New York pizza.
I mean, I would love
get
New
it,
York
I get
for
it.
another chopped cheese.
Yeah, so for me, it would really just be the food and my family. But I feel like my family, I could see them anytime. My cuppy cake, I think she's the one that I miss the most. Watching her grow up, my granddaughter and my nephew LT, I'm missing a huge part of their lives.
Yeah.
You know, so like she's 2 years old and I only see her during Christmas break in the summertime. And my nephew, it's been 9 years I've been here and he's 13 now. So I've missed 9 years of his life. Only seeing him twice a year. It's not a lot, you know, so you miss a lot of that. You've had a lot of relatives die and get married or have babies and I'm not a part of any of it. I've not celebrated a birthday with my family in 9 years.
Oh, wow.
My own birthday. I've not celebrated my own son's birthday in 9 years because he's born in November. I can't go home in November. I've not celebrated a Thanksgiving with my family in 9 years. These are the things that are the time you can't really get back. But on the flip side, I had 36 years with them. I'm all right. Oh, we'll make more memories.
Right.
It's not over.
I need them to come this way.
And I need them to come this way. And my mother loves coming here. So she likes to visit. My son came last year, which is really nice. I've had a lot of relatives come to visit. And so I like living here because then I can be the avenue for people to come for their first time to experience being abroad. And even knowing what it feels to live like an expat. Because it's different when you're staying at someone's house that lives here versus staying in a hotel or being in Dubai. This is different. Mm-hmm. You're literally going back and forth every day like you're one of us. Like, this is your life. You go to the supermarket on your own. You are living the expat life, in a sense, when you come to visit someone who lives here versus staying in a hotel. So for me, I've been able to give that opportunity to a lot of my family and friends who otherwise would not have had that chance.
That's very nice.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Yeah, with everything y'all said, it's just as far as food, family, missing out on those events. I was talking with Tasha last night about just losing family members. I lost my grandmother this year and missing her 80th birthday, and then 3 months later she was gone. Mm-hmm. And they talk about that, the regret. I'm like, man, I can have that moment, but also on the flip side, we had X amount of years together. And they can come this way. Like, if my grandmother, God rest her soul, she always talked about, she's like, I want to come. And I was like, Granny, you can't. Like, it's a 9-hour plane ride and you like 70-something years old. I don't think you can make it. But I mean, if she could, she would have. And I do have family members that have come over. Like the first family member that I had was my dad. He came over for 6 days. He had the best time of his life.
Oh, that's nice.
He had the best time of his life. He did a part of it in the hotel, and then we went to my house, and he spent 3 days in my house, and we had a ball. I took him through London, then drove to Wales, and we had afternoon tea by the seaside. It was a whole little adventure for him.
Okay, we need a weekend and yeah, now I've gone to the UK a few times, but yeah, we might need a weekend with you.
We talked about it
Train
before.
to Amsterdam.
We need to train to Amsterdam, train
I've
to
been to
Paris.
Amsterdam.
Yeah,
It's nice.
like I mean, I can make an adventure out of
I've
something.
been to Paris too a few times.
When you have family members come over, you invite them into your life, and you invite them into this atmosphere, and you're inviting them into the life that you built, and they love it because they're going to a different country.
Yes.
And it gives them opportunity. Like, okay, well, they know, so they can just tell me where to go. Ladies, I thank you so much for this conversation.
Yes.
This was a great conversation.
Yeah, it was nice.
And it was just great just learning from each of you about your experiences, especially coming over to Abu Dhabi. Me from London. I would want to leave on just one more note. What would you say to anybody that wants to take that step and take that leap of faith? What would be your piece of advice for them?
Do it scared.
Okay.
Just do it. If it's something you really want to do, just do it. Yeah, don't be afraid.
Yeah. Tasha?
What's better than this? I mean, like, do you want to work and just go home and live a comfortable life, or do you want to blossom? This is a great way to blossom in your life.
Yeah, I would say I would agree with both of y'all pieces of advice, but I also would say that before you do anything, just whether you need to pray about it, whether you need to journal, really think about yourself doing it before you do it. And then when you do it, build your family.
Yeah.
Build your community, because there's no point of staying in the four walls, because you've done it, yay you, but there's no point if you're still staying in your four walls and not experiencing it.
Yeah.
So taking the time to experience.
Take advantage of it.
Yeah, take advantage of whether you stay, whether it be for 10 months, whether it be for 10 years. Enjoy the experience, because a lot of us, and especially a lot of us Black folks, don't experience it.
This is true.
Having that avenue and having the platform that I do, and just showcasing that Black women and Black people can do this.
And we're thriving.
And we're thriving.
And we're happy.
Yes, very happy.
Yeah, very happy.
All right. Well, thank you so much, guys, for tuning in. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. I am on Instagram and TikTok. And then you can also listen to the audio version on Spotify, Apple Music, and Amazon Music. Thank you so much for watching. This is your girl, LD Marie. This is Donna and Tasha, and we are out.